We have a geographically diverse set of switches, different data centers across the country.
So that's good for your customers from a redundancy standpoint?
Redundancy, high availability, resiliency, but also call control. We had a case out in Los Angeles with one of our quick serve restaurant customers that literally had a backhoe incident. The owner of that particular franchise has about 75 others in that area. And we asked him, what would you like us to do with these inbound calls? He said, boy, if you could swing them over to the restaurant 2 blocks away, that'd be great. And so our cloud architecture did just that. So all the inbound calls were then redirected to a restaurant owned by him 2 blocks away. And so the business, the revenue capture stayed within the company. And so that's like business continuity, right?
Sure.
And we do all that, and we do it all with a high degree of quality as well. So and that quality component comes with the algorithms and protocols that we developed that we announced last year at IT Expo in Miami, HQRP. We have a premise device, small, not much bigger than a router you'd buy at Staples for your home. And a lot of the software that we've written, it's a full duplex communication path between our cloud layer and our premise switch. And that is an application layer aware gateway, if you will. So we're able to route around problems out in the core of the network at a application layer, not layer 3. And so that's again, it's a high degree of quality, resiliency, reliability.
Now, what about price?
Prices, we're not cheap. We're not expensive. We have 2 or 3 different price points that are, industry standard, but we don't. Price is not an issue for us. We're a managed service, and we find our customers once they see the value in Unified Office. And again, that example out in Los Angeles is classic of how Unified Office can keep the revenue in your business, but also enhance revenue capture as well. And this next IT Expo, we're going to have a product announcement 2 weeks prior that'll be talking about our analytics that we've added to the company. So
if I'm watching this right now, I probably am asking at this point, well, am I the right kind of customer? So we now know that you have at least one company with chain, so branch offices obviously make sense for your sort of solution. What are the kind of customer, like what are the qualifications almost to be a customer of yours?
Really, there aren't really qualifications per se, Rich. The ideal customer for us is anybody that has a company that's serious about doing business. Yes, it's true that if you're all in one building and you're 2 feet away from each other, a lot of what Unified Office can offer you isn't probably necessarily germane to what you're trying to accomplish. However, I would argue that some of those people leave the office to go home, they get on airplanes, they travel on business, and to be connected in this hyper-connected world that we live in is important to them. So, professional services companies, any company that has remote offices around the country or in the world, remote employees, those are sort of a prototype customer for us, right? We really specialize in nomadic communications, and it's not just voice. We do video, we'll do messaging, and we'll be integrating with various forms of communicating. We're doing it at WebRTC. We've got a prototype call control architecture that we've developed.
So basically allowing your customers to have access via the browser to use voice and video.
You can do embedded browser calling.
That interfaces with your system.
That's correct.
So if I'm a customer of yours, could I theoretically put something on my website and where a consumer clicks and then they can directly connect with me, my agents in the company?
Exactly right. You can roll your own call center with our software.
And you could do a video call center even if you wanted to,
Absolutely.
Where the agent can see the person or the person can see the agent.
Yes.
Okay.
It's prototype now, right? It's not. We haven't beta tested it yet, but we're still waiting for WebRTC to kind of mature a little bit more. So that we can see what direction it's really taking, right? The call control piece is in my mind, is the most critical component. The ability to reach out and sort of click on that icon and then have the call control place that SIP, initiate message, right? So, and the rules regarding that are kind of fuzzy. But we built it, we're ready to go, and I think, sometime later next year you'll start to see that more fully developed.
So there are apps then for the different devices, iOS, etc., Android?
Yeah, you go into the App Store. We have a couple that we like to reference sell, but you go on the App Store, download the soft phone of your choice. If it supports SIP, it'll work on our architecture just fine.
What about Mac or Windows?
Doesn't matter.
Do I use the browser? What would I use in those?
Same thing. You'd go and download a soft client.
Okay.
You're familiar with SIP clients, for example. Skype clients, and there's a bunch of those out there available for Windows, Mac.
So in terms of the selling, do you sell direct, or do you sell through resellers, or both, or
It's
how does that work?
it's a reseller-based company. We sell exclusively through channels throughout the United States, and that I don't see that ever changing.
So it's opportunity for resellers to get hold of you as well.
Tremendous
and
opportunity.
to carry your line. Okay.
Yep.
Now, competitively, is it worth talking about who do you think you compete with? And
We really don't. If you ask, I would tell you that everybody's a competitor, but yet nobody is at the same time. Nobody, I think, by and large, the ecosystem is out solving a different problem. And we alluded to this a few seconds ago, which is cheap voice that works sometimes, right? Any one of these companies would tell you that they didn't set out to build an unreliable voice architecture. But it just happens to be you build a data center, you put a few switches in there, and the financial sort of leverage that you get out of that is very, very seductive. But you're really, at the end of the day, not helping your customer if that's all you're doing is giving you best effort communications. We don't want to do that. We're trying to solve the quality problem. I think by and large we've solved the majority of that, and the reliability that VoIP has suffered from over the last 10 to 12 years.
well, that's great, Ray. Thanks for being on the program.
All right. Thanks, Rich. Good to see you.